Well, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to a different sort of Yami Noob episode. Today, I am behind the wheel of a Ferrari F8 Tributo. We got this car for the V4R giveaway reveal. You guys probably saw that, which if you haven't, definitely go and check out yaminoob.co. We're giving away a Ducati Panigale V4R in 7 days, along with $10,000 cash, which is no joke. And we thought it'd be fun to get this car out and kind of have some fun with it. But I wanted to take the car out and talk about how I kind of think supercars are a little boring. This is maybe a controversial opinion, but I feel like as a motorcyclist, cars just really don't do a lot for me. And the weird thing is, I thought that by getting something like this, a freaking Ferrari, it's the twin turbo V8, 700 plus horsepower, whatever. I mean, this is quite the vehicle. Just doesn't do a whole lot for me. You know, like I'll mash it here and you know, it's exciting, but it's nothing really like a bike. You know what I mean? Bikes have something very visceral about them, very extreme, and you feel so much more connected to a motorcycle in a way that you just can't in a car. And honestly, new cars nowadays too, they just feel so numb, so kind of like, I feel like it's taking care of everything for me. It's not really dangerous in any sort of way. I don't know, there's something different about motorcycles when you really ride them. And the other thing I think a lot about too is that cars are quite these aspirational goods, you know? They're these things that people buy because they want to have them say a certain thing about them, they want to cement their status in the world, that sort of thing. And to be honest, bikes can be that too, right? Like you can buy a motorcycle because you want to tell people that you have a love of danger, a love of life, and all these great things. But cars have really become that status symbol for people nowadays too. They've really turned into something that a lot of people aspire to and try to own so that they can be a certain person. So we're here in fourth gear in the F8, and I'm just going to roll into it. Struggling for traction a little bit, that's fun. Constantly beeping. This car, I swear to God, it's the most beepy little car I've ever driven in my life. All it does is constantly just keep giving little noises to me. It's very annoying. But yeah, you know, you've got all these safety systems. The vibe in here is very race car-esque. But the thing I wanted to point out too is that, you know, motorcycles are so close to their actual race bike counterparts. You know, you're here in the F8 Tributo, and you know, you can feel that the Ferrari racing DNA. You're in this like carbon chassis with like these crazy bucket seats, and you're really low to the ground, and everything seems to be, you know, very race focused. But this isn't really homologated for race use. This isn't really designed as a track car. A lot of these vehicles are, you know, meant to be display pieces for rich people, let's be honest. Which is why I think stuff like the Porsche products, the GT products, are pretty interesting, because those are designed to be on a racetrack. And, you know, maybe there definitely are Ferraris that are designed to be on the racetrack, but I think it's cooler for motorcycles that your bone stock R1s, your bone stock Gixxer 1000s, they are very close to the race bikes that people use in club racing, in national level racing. You know, obviously they have a lot of modifications that allow them to get to that point, but you know, a skilled motorcyclist with a good set of tires can take a motorcycle very, very far on track, versus, you know, a skilled driver in a stock Ferrari. You know, it's not really quite the same thing. But I will say, this car feels really direct. It feels really, you know, interesting to drive. You're so low to the ground. You have these huge haunches. You have this big V8 behind you. It is very exciting. But I gotta say, and again, I might sound biased because I'm a motorcyclist, but I floor this thing and I don't feel much of anything. I know that sounds crazy, but you know, it doesn't really redline that high. It redlines at a little under 8,000 RPM. That's where the party gets started for bikes. You know, an R6 redlines at 16,000, the V4R 16,000, an R1 14,000. It's so much more revs. And everything nowadays in cars is getting turboed and hybrid and electric and all this stuff. And ultimately, I feel like we're losing a little bit of what made these things interesting in the first place. And that's why I think if you are a diehard car enthusiast and you like the pure stuff, you like naturally aspirated, you like 6-speed gearboxes, you like connected driver feel, man, motorcycles are there waiting for you guys. Honestly, motorcycles are right there waiting for you. They are begging to be ridden and enjoyed. The vast majority of motorcycles are manual, they're rear-wheel drive, they're direct, they make a ton of power, and they're all like that, which is really cool because bikes are really designed to be fun, whereas cars, honestly, and you guys are not gonna like me for saying this, I've been in this thing all day today, and at some point, I just feel like I'm just rolling around, you know, getting groceries or something. I find myself just sitting here and it's kind of just driving itself, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm just kind of like, all right, I'm here, you know, I'm hanging out, I'm here in the car, okay, this is cool. And, you know, we just came back from ripping it around a bunch of twisty roads, and while it was very exciting to do that, these supercars tend to have the same effect that a lot of top-end leader bikes have, where the fun factor is locked away kind of really up high in the performance spectrum. You have to really push these things to really feel any kind of performance out of them, which is, you know, why a lot of people enjoy stuff like, you know, Miatas and, you know, more entry-level cars, because you get to slide the rear around and do stuff at slower speeds without having to, you know, do triple digits all the time. But it's like they say, fast car fast is always the most fun. It's the same with bikes. But this does suffer a little bit of that H2 effect, the V4R effect, where you're like, man, you know, I can barely really open this thing up, which we are just about to do because we are getting close to a nice open highway here. Look at these downshifts, little paddle shifters. I do miss a manual transmission on this thing, I'm not gonna lie. Pretty decent little sound. Take a left over here. Looks like we got the green, which is pretty cool. I mean, it's rapid, don't get me wrong. And it happens all really fast with the transmission and everything else. But it's so precise. It's so precise, and it just wants to do that all the time. And, you know, it does put a smile on your face. I can't sit here and be like, this isn't fun. But ultimately, is it worth, what, 7 times the price of a V4R? Is it worth 10 times the price of even like a well-equipped super bike? Not particularly. I wouldn't say so. I think, honestly, the reason I'm enjoying it right now is because it's so goddamn hot outside in Texas and I get to be in the AC, and this is really nice. But to be perfectly frank, if it was a beautiful day, I would rather be on a motorcycle any day of the week. Again, I don't want to sound biased, I don't want to sound like a doucher, but as a guy who's ridden many motorcycles and I've driven lots of cool cars, cars are really, for me at this point in my life, just utilitarian objects. Even this F8 Tributo, it's very cool, it's very fast, it's very interesting. It doesn't excite me, it doesn't get me going very much. So we'll roll on here in 7th gear a little bit, just feel the torque of that V8 climb up to about a little over 100 miles an hour. And, you know, it does it, feels good doing it. But ultimately, I want to twist that throttle a little bit. So, hope you guys enjoyed me just kind of goofing around a little bit here in the car, talking a little bit about, you know, supercars, super bikes. This is a topic that I see a lot on YouTube. Guys love to talk about this sort of thing. You see this type of thing online. And that's just my take on it. If you disagree, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to hear your opinions on it as well. And also, don't forget, the Panigale V4R that we are featuring for this whole video series is a giveaway motorcycle. You only have until September 1st to win it. You're going to want to make sure you check that out because you are not going to want to miss that fantastic motorcycle. 7 days only to win it. Make sure you get entered. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Keep watching Yami No.